Welcome to the Penny Z Show, where you get to learn how real people overcame real issues. Get ready to take notes and, most importantly, take action. Here's your host, Penny Z.
Hello, everyone. This is Penny Z. We are coming to you with transformational knowledge that's real, relevant, and relatable. We are here to transform lives one life at a time. And as you know, we are in a series called Overcoming I'm Not Enough to Being More Than Enough. Today's guest is a fantastic brand expert. I can't wait for her to share not only her story, but how she helps to transform your life in her business ventures. This is JuliAnn Stitick. Welcome, JuliAnn.
Hey there. How are you, Penny?
I'm
excited to be with you.
I'm excited to have you as well and for you to be on and share. But if you would do me the pleasure, please, we love to have our guests introduce themselves and give us a little bit of bio and background before sharing your story.
Absolutely. I'm totally happy to do that. Well, so my name's JuliAnn Stitick, and I run a company called Your Success Style. And I work with accomplished business owners to help them develop themselves as the DNA for every decision they make, not just in their brand, but in their business and their personal life as well. And then I carry that further after working with the business owner into a team setting to really look at the entire experience of a brand and make sure that it's on target with that business owner's DNA woven and delivering on the customer's experience, all of those different elements. I'm a motivational speaker and corporate trainer. I love what I do, and I lift weights and bake pies. How's that for an introduction?
That's awesome. Well, I will just say I've known JuliAnn for almost a year now, and she is the real deal. She has heart and soul. She believes in what she does. She cares about her clients. She does excellent work. And I just want to mention that she is an author. And would you share a little bit about your books as well, JuliAnn?
Oh, I would love to. So I've written 3. The first one is called The Total Package. It's 5 Keys to a Profitable Personal Brand. The second book I wrote is called Step Into Your Power, and it's and I'm going to give everybody a copy of it for free. And it's your step-by-step strategy guide to maximum results at your next conference, event, or networking opportunity. And then the third book is called Purpose Crisis, and this is my heart book. It is Stop the Inner Struggle, Find Your Life's Meaning, and Reveal the Magnificent You Who's Ready to Be Seen.
That's awesome. I love that. Not only mindset, but tools and techniques in order to change and pivot your life to have and live the best life that you can live. So I do have her books. They are amazing. I have read it. I actually took her book on my last trip. And she will tell all of our listeners how you too can get in touch with her and get her book offer at the end of our show. So let's dive right in, JuliAnn. Tell me a little bit about your I'm Not Enough story, a little bit of the backstory on the story.
So an I'm Not Enough story. So, you know, I was born into a really, actually very nice family. And I say that, the way that I say that pausingly is that they are as nice as their experiences will allow them to be, right? Mm-hmm. But I always, from the get-go, always knew I was different than the rest of my family. I knew it from the very beginning. And I experienced, as a child, sexual abuse by an extended family member. And because of that, I think that I just always felt very different. I felt alone. I felt like I didn't matter. And so what happened is I felt so bad about myself on the inside that I turned to having everything perfect in my life, you know, so that I could feel like I had some control over my life. And I know that sexual abuse affects people in many, many different ways. And how it affected me is that I did not know how to have boundaries in relationships because they were skewed at such an early age. And so I made some bad choices. I did some things that, I don't live with regrets. I never do, because what we do is our lessons in life, right?
Mm-hmm.
But some things that if I was making those decisions now, I wouldn't make those decisions now. But I know that this feeling of not being enough, I had to learn how to do things on the outside to make me feel like I was enough, right?
So what did that look like to you?
What did that look like? It looked like if the hair was perfect and the clothes were perfect and you had a organized handbag and your bills were all paid like the day they were supposed to be paid. I mean, we're talking about like everything had to be really, 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 really safe, because I had never felt safe before. Right.
Right.
And so what I've learned is that I was able to have more of an understanding of recognizing that neurologically, a lot of the decisions that I was making and the actions I was taking in my life were relevant to a trauma in my life, right? And it wasn't until I was able to separate that trauma and the reactions that I had when I was younger, and recognize that when I start feeling like I'm not enough, that I don't have to react by doing things that really aren't what will fill me.
Is there some tools and techniques that you've used over the years that you can share with our listeners to help with that mindset?
Yes, absolutely. Well, I would say I live by philosophy, okay? And the philosophy is the feelings follow the actions. And the idea here is if we want something to change, all we have to do is make a decision that we want that thing to change, right?
Right.
But then we have to actually take action in our lives, right? So in having more of a clear understanding that, oh, let me teach a tool here. This is one of my favorite tools. My top clients love it. Is that when I start thinking about something or start worrying about something, or start thinking about like memories, right? I'm able to look at those feelings and think of them, I visualize them like a ball. And then what I do is, this is called the box method. I actually visualize taking that, putting it in a box. It's a beautiful box. It's got a lid on it. It's got a beautiful bow. And then I visualize taking that, putting it up on the shelf and saying, I know you're there. You've served me in the past. I'll come back. I promise. Don't worry. I'm going to pat you on the head right now, and I'm going to go, you're there and you're safe. And now I'm going to take positive action in my life. And that is how I have been able to sort of separate. And actually what it does physiologically is creates a new neural pathway so that I'm responding to life rather than reacting to life.
Absolutely.
Yes.
And, we all learn our emotions at some point in time in our past, and most of the time in our childhood, because an event or events happen that create, hurt, pain, anger, jealousy,
Yes.
all of those emotions.
Yes.
And you're right. We have to realize that what started that feeling in our past as a child doesn't necessarily serve us anymore moving forward. And
Right.
so we need to figure out, as adults especially, hopefully sooner than later
Right.
in our adulthood,
Yes.
how to change and pivot that mindset.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so, to kind of even like take that a step further and talk about not the way to move from I'm not enough to actually being confident. What it comes down to is making the decision, okay, first of all. And then once you make the decision, you go, okay, like what actions can I take in my life now that are going to build my confidence? And more often than not, it's trying something new. It's stepping out of your box, right?
Absolutely.
And that's what helps build a place of confidence, because confidence actually takes a lot of work. It really does. We have to exercise our confidence muscles consistently.
Yeah. I know that especially the last several years for me in identifying one of my overcoming I'm not enough, my enough story, which I wasn't good enough, I wasn't pretty enough, I wasn't smart enough, I wasn't athletic enough. And now when I look at something that I have a twinge in my stomach or, makes me fearful, I guess, and, unless it's not immoral, unethical, or, it's going to hurt me in any way, shape, or form in the physical sense, I guess, I realize that I now have to pass through that to be able to get to the other side. And every time you do that, like what you're saying, you build your confidence every time you push past that fear.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's great.
Exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
Absolutely.
Yes.
So I wanted to ask you a little bit more because I know that this is such an important yet sensitive topic. And there are, unfortunately, individuals listening and in this world who have had sexual abuse.
Yes.
And so I just wanted you, if you would be open to share any advice to help those. I know we've talked about overcoming I'm not enough and some tips and techniques for mindset, but when someone's in that space, whether they're, younger or now that they're, they could even have that as an adult. Do you have any advice for them to get help, for them to reach out, to get past that fear, to be able to change their course of the actions that are happening to them?
Well, absolutely. I would say the first thing that I want to say to anybody that's dealing with this, I love you and you're going to be okay. And there's just some steps that you need to take in order to work through it. It will always be a part of your past, right? And so I would say just knowing that you're not alone, because you're not. And then really looking at, I'm really into the neuroscience-based approach to moving beyond trauma. And so one of the modalities that I used is called EMDR. And it is an eye movement desensitization. I don't even remember but what it is it's really working with breaking up those old neural pathways and creating new ones. And I am somebody that's here to say that it works. Now,
is it like a light?
It is actually a light that your eyes follow while you're in a memory. And it's fascinating stuff. And then you can also use these little devices that you hold, one in each hand, and it buzzes back and forth. So while you're thinking of it, it's stimulating right brain, left brain, right brain, left brain, and breaking up those neural pathways. And then the third way is over with sound. And so it's sound here, back and forth.
Absolutely. Well, I haven't experienced that particular type of therapy or a tool, but I will say that I was traumatized physically when I was in a car accident. Oh my gosh, probably 6 or 7 years ago. I was rear-ended by a semi. And so I had obviously some spinal cord and neck injuries. And they used, I think it was called blue light therapy.
Yes.
And the blue light, because what had happened is my brain, the best way to explain it, got jumbled.
Yes.
It felt like it was discombobulated. And like you said, in order to get the, the brain waves and everything to kind of start focusing properly and in the right path, they said that there was this therapy called the blue light therapy that would help. And they used it on my eyes and around my head. And I will say that I agree 100% with you that it was amazing, the transformation. So it's nice to know that something along those lines are available for the mindset change as well.
Well, exactly. And I would be remiss if I didn't mention that I've learned a lot of techniques from Michael Burnoff. he's been amazing in teaching tools. And so it's really powerful to be able to recognize that literally changing your mood is instantaneous, and you can do it on a dime.
Yeah, absolutely.
You can change anything on a dime. And so that's very powerful in moving beyond. But back to, you asking for resources, knowing you're not alone, getting some sort of help. And I'm looking straight into the camera. Get some help, whatever that looks like. It could be a clergyman. It could be a woman who is a therapist. I mean, there's so many different types of support out there for you. And so to go for it and just know it can get better if you make the decision to recognize that it's not who you are. It's something that happened to you in your past, and it can stay there.
Absolutely. And I apologize, I haven't had this situation come up. And so I believe there's probably, local organizations that people can call and reach out to and get support and help. Yes. And if you're not safe. So I just want to be, I want to be respectful, and I want to acknowledge that there could be people on listening to the Penny Z Show and to this particular episode, and I want to help empower them and help them move past the situation physically and or mentally that they might be in, if it's similar in the sexual abuse world. Thank you.
Thank you for that, because we're all here. We're all here to support.
Well, and I just think that we all have, like you said, trauma, and trauma comes in different ways and forms. And so this, I think, is just very important that we help support the listeners and realize, like you said, they're not alone. That's part of my show. It's part of why I have guests like yourself come on and talk about overcoming their I'm not enough story.
Yes.
Because when we're in that moment and we're in our own head, we feel like we're not good enough and we are alone.
Right.
So thank you for
absolutely
sharing that. We're not alone.
Absolutely. And the thing is it's like, now I would love for us to just like shift into like what's possible for people.
Absolutely. That was my next question. So
all right. So let's talk about that. What's the next question?
So the next question is, obviously you've identified a trauma in your life. You've used tools and techniques in order to change your mindset and build yourself and become this beautiful, wonderful person that you are externally and internally. How has that helped you become the person that you are today? And what kind of advice or any additional advice do you have people to help? Because you're living your dream. So how has that helped you to become the person that you are today? And what are you doing today?
Right. I love that. So I would say that it's become a way of living for me, and really it's about recognizing, you've had this story. That's what it is. It's a story, right? Mm-hmm. And we have control of everything moving forward. We just do.
Right.
And having that belief I think that is one of the things that I really always had to do, is I always had to visualize things being better than they are, right? And not like that I'm dissatisfied, but more from a like, what's more possible? What's possible? And that's how I help business owners build out their brands. We start with like, what the heck do you really want out there? Where do you really want to be spending your time in your business? How do you really want your family to look like? And to get there, and then we reverse engineer the build of their brand so that it accelerates them getting there. So really looking at vision and like, what do you want for your life? And what will you spend your days and hours doing that will make you feel fulfilled as a person? Because if you're not fulfilled in your job, you are in the wrong place. And I can't stress that piece enough. And so what I've learned is that one of the reasons that I feel like a success as a business owner is because I know that what I'm doing is what I'm supposed to be doing in my life. And when I get to see the things that happen in women's lives, not because of me, but because of my purpose, that they get to grow and change, it doesn't get any better than that. And I love what I do. And so being able to spend that time doing something that fuels me and helps other people, that's what I call the paycheck for my heart.
Oh, I love that. Yeah. Well, unfortunately, we are coming close to the end, so I'd like to ask my guests for two things. First, if they have any final words of wisdom, and secondly, obviously, our listeners would probably love to get a hold of you, learn more about your business, more about how you can help them with their branding. So share with us information, and we will also have JuliAnn's information on our website as well. But please end with words of wisdom and additional information about your business.
I love that. Okay, so words of wisdom is, you've got this. You can do it. No matter what you're going through in your business, your personal life, whatever it is, whether it's relationship issues, money issues, whatever, you can do this. And it's just a decision away. It's just, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do what I need to do to step out of fear and into action. Those are my words of wisdom, and they can be applied to anything. And then, as I mentioned earlier, I do want to give away a copy of my book, Step Into Your Power. So all they need to do is go to getyourpowerbook.com, and they'll be able to get a free copy of that. And then, of course, I would love anybody to reach out to me. Reach out. JuliAnn at JuliAnnStitick.com is my personal email address. They can send me an email, and I would love to talk with them about their brand and see what they're doing and see how they can take what they love most and make a life around it.
That's fantastic. Well, JuliAnn, thank you so much for your story, for sharing your words of wisdom, obviously, for the free book for our listeners. That will be fantastic. We will have all of JuliAnn's information on our website at www.thepennyzshow.com. We will also be promoting this episode with JuliAnn on all of our social media websites, Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, YouTube, you name it, we're on it. So, again, JuliAnn, thank you again for being on the Penny Z Show and sharing your time. We greatly appreciate it. And everyone listening, have a fantastic day. Thanks again.
Thank you so much for listening. If you want to hear more, including specific ways to empower yourself, go to thepennyzshow.com.